What's up guys, this is Miasin, and this is going to be my very first time making a video on the Snake Eye White Forest Azamina deck. Well, actually I kind of lied because I did make an OCG live reaction video on it, and it is very interesting. I mean, this deck is really popular in the OCG, and it is kind of starting to get people's attention in the TCG as well, and because of that I figured, you know what, I have to make a video on this, and I think that this deck might be the future of combo decks when we get the Supreme Darkness set, the new White Forest cards, and the new Azamina cards, because it is kind of like the same lore. They are really well connected to the Snake Eye cards, because the Snake Eye cards obviously are connected to Diabell Star and Wanted, which belong to the Sinful Spoils lore, and the Sinful Spoils cards are also connected to Azamina cards. So yeah, in other words, everything works pretty much as single cohesive strategy. So it makes sense that you're combining a lot of engines with each other. Actually, as a matter of fact, this deck is more of a cohesive lore deck than Fire King Snake Eyes, because the only correlation between the Fire King cards and the Snake Eye cards would be Original's ability to summon Pawnex from deck. That's about it. But yeah, very fun deck and extremely powerful. Like I said, it is the best combo deck in the OCG at the current moment. It can actually keep up with Eraziel and Malice despite their insane space for non-engine cards. They can play 20 hand traps, and this deck can still push through a lot. But yeah, before we go any further, I would really appreciate you if you could smash the like and subscribe button. And yet again, if this video can get to 1,000 likes, I will be making a spreadsheet video on this deck, and you really do not want to miss it out. So yeah, let's get right into it. Okay, so combo number one is what you can do with a single Snake Eye Ash. In theory, you can actually do a little more than what I'm about to show, but only if you're willing to play a lot of bricks in your deck, which I do not recommend. But yeah, Snake Eye Ash into Pop, and then Pop into Divine Temple. The Divine Temple here is rather relevant, and then you're going to be placing the Snake Eye Diabell Star, and then transform into the Oak, revive back the Snake Eye Ash, and then link off into an IP Masquerade. Could theoretically at this point be any link too, but IP early is, I guess, relatively relevant. And then summon your Snake Eye Diabell Star, plays the Populace or the Snake Eye Ash, doesn't really matter too much. And this is where we're going to be summoning Sprite Sprint. If you have no idea where this is going, you're gonna love it. But of course, I have seen this with my own eyes in OCG matches, and I was like, oh, this is beautiful to look at. But the Sprite Sprint is going to be sending a Stellar of the White Forest, and this card can revive itself back whenever a spell or trap card is sent to the graveyard to activate a monster effect. Any of them. So yeah, you can see the correlation between the Snake Eyes and the White Forest, because we're going to be sending very specifically the Divine Temple, not the Pop, because Pop is a monster, and we're going to be summoning the Flamberge, and that will be triggering the Stellar to revive herself back, and then the Stellar can send the Pop. You cannot do the other way around. It will not work, because Pop, like I said, is a monster, so it will not trigger the effect of a Stellar to come back from the grave. Anyways, now we're going to be summoning the Sylvie, and on summon Sylvie, you can search your deck for a spell or trap card, so that's going to be the tail, and we're going to be going into Arciela, which pitches the tail, and then reset back and search the woes. You can also search another card instead. I think it's like the Legend or something, or Scourging, I forgot, but it's actually a very good card. It's an Omni-Negate by tributing a Synchro, and then you can also revive back a White Forest monster from your grave, something like that. But it is not really good when you're making half boards and when you're getting hand trapped to death. Woes is usually better, but if you can make your full board and people are on board breakers instead, then yeah, then Woes is significantly worse, because it doesn't really deal with evenly matched and stuff like that. But yeah, anyways, summon your LZ by pitching the Woes, and then you're going to be searching for the new LZ, Azamina LZ, and also reset back your Woes, and then effect of Azamina LZ, summon herself, and then Synchro Summon for the Diabell, Chilling 1, Chilling 2. You can recycle back any spell or trap at this point, so if there was a talent that, for example, that you used before, then you can get back or whatever. If you discarded something for Diabell Star, you can recruit back, like an Imperm, because we're not going to be using whatever we recycle back with the Diabell, and then obviously you're going to be searching the Deception off of the, what's-his-face, the Azamina LZ, and then activate your Deception, tribute your Sprite Sprint, get the Hallowed Azamina, and then Flamberge, plays the IP, activate your Hallowed Azamina, summon the Mu Arcielago, and then search your deck for Wanted, link a bunch of monsters off for the Promethean Princess, revive back the Snake Eye Oak and the Snake Eye Ash. By the way, when we're going to be getting the new Link 5 monster, the Akko, the Talker, Adignister, this combo is going to be getting even better. And if you're willing to play Fiendsmith bricks in your deck, like the Lacrima, Engraver, and all the monsters that you need in your extra deck, you can make this end board even nastier. But then again, you're not really playing a real strategy. You're really just playing a deck that makes a lot of negates when it goes first, and that's it. But I really wanted to make this deck feel as clean and realistic as possible, which is the reason why those cards are not included in my deck. Anyways, the Flamberge, like I said, revive back 2 monsters, and then Princess, revive back the Flamberge, and then link off into Raging Phoenix, Zealantis, or whatever. You can make any Link 2 or Link 4 monster as long as it's a fire, and Zelantis, I guess, kind of does something, so that's the reason why I'm doing that. I wanted search your Diabell Star, and then put everything in the monster zone, which again is not super relevant until the very end. Summon your Diabell Star, set whatever. There's, I think, also a trap card that is not too bad here, and then link off into Silhouette Rabbit, and the final step is going to be going into Hallowed Azamina, summon your Ilia Silvera, and then draw a card off of Wanted. You could also, like, search a level 1 fire, but there is nothing to search at this point because every level 1 fire is a one of them. And yeah, just like that, you're going to be ending your final board on so many interruptions that it's actually really hard for me to count. So you got double Book of Eclipse on your opponent's turn because Diabell can summon the Silvera Fusion, Synchro Monster first, and then you can, like, bounce it back to the extra deck, and then summon your, where is it? The level 4 from the graveyard, there you go, the Sylvie. And then you still have, like, this in your deck, so you can go, like, Woes, summon this, and then you can quick sync again on the opponent's turn for another Silvera. And you can also have, like, Flamberge into IP, into SP, so you can banish a bunch of things. You have Angel Statue as a rune, so that you can destroy something with the Silhouette Rabbit, and also, like, Solemn Warning your opponent. So that's 2 interruptions, and then IP, 2 more interruptions, Princess, 5th interruption, the double Book of Eclipse, so that's 7 interruptions, and the Omni Negate off of the Ilia Silvera, so that's 8 interruptions, if I can count. So yeah, it's a nasty board, but obviously it can get better if you're willing to play, like, bad cards in your deck, or if you want to play, instead of the Woes, you can play the Quick Play spell that negates something. That is also not too bad, but then again, if you get stopped, like, very early on, then it's worse, because you might not be able to get to the Synchro Monster, so it's going to be a brick when you don't have everything. And when you have, like, 4 hand traps and the Quick Play spell, it's bad, but if you have, like, 4 hand traps and Woes, you eventually play Yu-Gi-Oh! But yeah, that's it for combo number 1. Very simple, what you can do with one single Snake Eye Ash. Let's get into combo number 2. Okay, so this is definitely going to be more interesting, because this time we have LZ and any spell or trap cards. So obviously, first things first, pitch your Imperm, whatever, and then get your search for the Sylvie, normal summon that, get your search for the Tails, and then summon the Arciela, discard your Tails, search the Woes, and then Tails comes back, and then flip that. And you're going to be searching for the Azamina LZ, and then effect special summon itself, and then synchro summon for Diabell, Queen of the White Forest. So chilling Quan, recycle back a spell, chilling to Azamina LZ, search the Wanted, activate Wanted, search your Diabell Star, discard whatever, even the Tails doesn't matter, set your Deception, flip that, and then tribute your Deception, Diabell Star, search the Hallowed Azamina, and then summon your Mu Arcielago, which searches for your original at this point, and then Hallowed Azamina, recycle back, and then activate that, and you're going to be summoning the Ilia Silvera by getting rid of the original, and then we're going to be searching for the Populace at this point, and then Populace effect, special summon from the hand, search your deck for Divine Temple. Very weird sequencing, I know. Please the Snake Eye Diabell Star here, and then get back your Populace, and then revive back the Sylvie by shuffling back the Arciela, link off for the Rabbit, and then Wanted, draw 1 card, set your Woes, and then end phase, get back the Deception. So that's a relatively decent board, right? It's still the 2 Book of Eclipses off of Diabell, the Silhouette Rabbit, and the Azarune, IP into SP, and the Omni Negate off of the Ilia Silvera. So the only thing that we're missing is Promethean Princess, and I think it was, like, Zelantis, like the other difference from the other board. So yeah, it's still 2, 4, 6, 7 eruptions. Yeah, there you go. It looks like pretty much the exact same, like, even without Snake Eye Ash, even without Flamberge, whatever, it doesn't really change anything. I still would say that this deck is very, very good, even without them. Okay, so in this situation, we have Wanted as well as any 2 cards, pretty much, so it's very similar to what you have seen in the Snake Eye deck or Snake Eye Fire King, whatever. So yeah, Wanted, search, well, discard, like, a monster, whatever, and then discard another monster off of Deception, and then Hallowed Azamina into the Mu Arcielago, search your original, and then link off into an IP, get back your Hallowed Azamina, and then activate that, summon the Omni Negate, and from here on out, we don't even have to be afraid of Nibiru anymore. So search your Snake Eye Ash, then effect, get your Populace, and then Populace effect. So it's actually better to start with Diabell Star or Sinfospos Deception than it is to start with, like, Snake Eye Ash in this situation. But yeah, link off into Sprite Sprint using the IP, and then send your Stellar, and then Snake Eye Ash into Oak, revive back the Snake Eye Ash, and then Oak effect, send the Temple, summon the Flamberge, and then get back your Stellar, and then the Stellar effect, send the Populace, summon the Sylvie, and then Sylvie effect. So yeah, again, you can see where this is going. Search a trap card, Arciela, discard the trap card, or rather ascend, and then get back the Woes, search your Tails effect, search the Azamina, the LZ of the White Forest, and then Snake Eye Diabell Star, you know, Promethean Princess, revive back 2 monsters, Princess, revive back the Flamberge, and then place the IP in the Spell and Trap zone, and then Raging Phoenix, and then Zelantis, and then put everything back on the field. So now we have a full board, but nothing in the extra monster zone. and we can start summoning monsters in the extra monster zone to just give ourselves more space. Summon your rabbit, and then set your Azaroon, special summon the Azamina LZ, and then synchro summon for the Diabel, and then Shielding 1, Shielding 2, so recycle back, and also search your deck for the Wanted. So even if you had Diabel Star and not Wanted, you can still get access to Wanted, draw a card, and end on a bunch of cards in hand. Yeah, this is a lot of value, and I believe this is the exact same amount of interruptions. So yeah, 2, and then 4, 6, and then 7, and then 8 because of the princess. Very nasty board, and also Nibiru proof. Okay, so this is gonna be like, I guess, kind of like a proof that this deck is very good through hand traps, depending on how they're used, obviously. But let's just say you go normal summon Sylvie, you get an Imprim there. It's not really the end of the world if you have an extender such as the LZ or the Azamina LZ, because you can go into your level 6 and then Shielding 1, Shielding 2, search your deck for Wanted as well as the tails, activate the tails. Search your deck for the LZ here, or the other, like the other one, if you started with LZ. So again, every path leads to like this very specific situation, assuming that your opponent doesn't want Imperm something else, and then holds the Imperm for the Witch, which even then doesn't really change anything to your life, because you can just chain the Diabel and then discard the tails, summon your Silvera, which then triggers this the Stellar. And then you have so many bodies on the field that you don't really care too much. Summon your Rabbit, revive back your Sylvie, and then make an IP Masquerada. And that is like 6 interruptions through double Imperm, because again, that is going to be the double Book of Eclipse, the IP into SP, as well as the Rabbit and Azaroon. So yeah, there's pretty much no way you lose. Actually, there's no woes, I believe, in this situation. So yeah, there's only 1 Book of Eclipse, but it's still really good. So yeah, 5 interruptions through double Imperm. So your opponent has 4 cards in hand. You have 3 cards in hand to... yeah, there's just no way you lose unless there's like a board breaker or something really nasty, and your opponent has the nuts, and you have nothing else. Alrighty, for the deck profile now, again, I will try to make this as simple as possible. So even if you have like no understanding of the deck, this should still be relatively straightforward for you. So yeah, for the hand traps, I am playing 12, as well as a bunch of board breakers and cards that are still good to draw overall at any moment. So 3 Ash, 3 Foros, nothing is set in stones, by the way, 3 Valor, 3 Imperm, 3 Droplet, and the Call by the Grave, so 16 non-engine and 43. Every deck list that I've seen that had more non-engine in their deck, the difference between our decks was always the same. It's just that they played less consistency cards. So don't get fooled by, oh, that deck can play 20 hand traps and 40 cards. Oh my god, it's so good going second, because they have so many less starters that they just end up breaking instead. So that's the reason why in this very specific build, I have so many starters that you cannot break. But like I said, even if Wanted, Bonfire, and Witch go to 1, I will not care. There are other ways to playing the deck. You can play like 3 Sylvie, 3 LZ, you can play... There's so many other alternatives that it's completely fine for me. But yeah, I'm playing a lot of starters, so yeah, 3 Witch, 3 Wanted, 3 Bonfire, 2 Deception, the Snake Eye Ash, the Pob, the double Sylvie, and the LZ, as well as the Stellar. So many starters that it's really hard to like even keep track. So that's already 9, 10, 12, 14, 15, 16. Yeah, this deck is mega consistent. 16, 17, 18 even. Yeah, so, yeah, that's pretty much like a 94% chance of getting your stuff going. And then yeah, the Oak, the Snake Eye Diabellstar, the Flamberge, as well as the Azamina LZ. All these cards are like combo pieces, but they don't really do anything on their own. The Hollowed Azamina, as well as the Azaroon, the Tails, which obviously does nothing on its own, as well as the Woes. So yeah, these cards, I guess, they kind of suck to draw, but it's not the end of the world. They actually aren't like terrible to draw either, except I guess for Flamberge, Snake Eye Diabellstar. Flamberge I think is worse, it depends on the situation. But yeah, so we have 43 cards in this build right here. For the extra deck, the Azamina Ilia Silvera, as well as the Mu Arcelago. There's another monster that is actually not too bad to play. It's the Soul Eryxiton, something like that. You need Illusion and a Fiend monster, and you can summon it using the Sinful Spoils of the White Forest. So yeah, it's not terrible, it's not garbage, and it on the field, like on summon, it can send a card on the field to the graveyard, and it has another really cool effect during each standby phase. You can recycle back an Azamina or Sinful Spoils card in your graveyard back to your hand. So yeah, the card is not too bad, but whatever. It's just gonna overcomplicate this deck a little too much. For the Synchros, I'm on Arciela as well as Silvera and Diabel. There is a world in which you just don't play these 2 cards at all. You can just play like Arciela, and then you can also play like Scourge or this card right here, the Sinful Spoils of the White Forest. And you can also play like Celine to revive this back because it is a spellcaster monster, and that can make like Sylvie turn into a full 1-card combo. So that is absolutely a possibility, but it depends on the ban list, because at the current moment, while we have 3 Wanted, 3 Witch, 3 Bonfire, I might as well play this deck more like a Snake Eyes deck featuring a White Forest deck. But in the future, maybe there's going to be like so little copies of these cards, because I am expecting all three, like literally all these 3 cards to get limited. So I think that this deck will be played as a White Forest deck featuring the Snake Eye engine, because just if you look at the OCG ban list, you see all these cards are at 1, but in the TCG, they're all at 3. That is about to change very, very, very soon. But yeah, for the Link Monster, Zealantis and Raging Phoenix for very quick OTKs. Promethean Princess, SP, IP, Hita, I guess it's just a good card. Nightmare Phoenix, this is very flexible. Sprite Sprint, in order to turn your Snake Eye engine into your White Forest engine as well. I guess there might be a way to like not play this card, but I don't know. I just think it's kind of nice. It's very convenient. I like it. And then Silhouette Rabbit, which obviously is also subject to change, and Relinquished Anima, which is absolutely mandatory. So yeah, if there are a few cards that you don't necessarily want to play here, like I said, it would be these 2 synchros, the Raging Phoenix and Zealantis, if you feel like there is other ways of killing your opponent very conveniently, as well as the Nightmare Phoenix, the Sprite Sprint in a way, the Rabbit, and yeah, that's about it. So yeah, you could, I guess, fit in like the Fiendsmith engine, but like I said, it's too much space in the extra deck, in a deck where the extra deck is already very tight. And I'm not about to just play like 2 Fiendsmith monsters in every single deck and just treat it as Orcust 2.0, where you now play like 2 bricks and like 6 bricks in your extra deck, just because you want to make like 1 more Omni Negate on your board. It's not really worth it, but whatever. And also, I don't even think it's needed, because the new Adignister Link 5 monster is just overall better. But yeah, anyways, for the idea section, the Scourge, I've talked about it a lot. It's a very good card. Just read its effect if you're still confused. But I explained it like 10 billion times. It is a searchable Omni Negate, so it's good. And then the Sinful Spells of the White Forest, so that you can fuse into the Soul Eric's Chiton or Guardian Chimera, whatever. Azamina Unleashing, this card is actually not too bad, but it's also not needed at all. If you want to search this instead of Woes and then bounce back a bunch of cards, it's not needed though. You really don't need it for anything. More copies of Tails, also not needed. And then Saint Azamina, just absolutely not needed at all. I really don't see what this brings in your deck, like to your deck, that it didn't really do before. It's not like it makes you beat hand traps any better, because by the time you get to summon this card, you're already doing super well anyways. And yeah, Dark, Access Code, Chaos Angel, which is not too bad. You can make a light and dark Chaos Angel super easily in this deck. Even if like Chaos Angel didn't have that stipulation that allow you to summon it using like no tuner monsters, just because you're using Sylvie and Mu Arcielago. So yeah, level 4 light and a level 6 dark. And also this one's a tuner, so you can also make other synchro monsters such as Chengying. In the OCG, this deck is significantly better because they do have Baron de Fleur as well as Appaloosa. So the end board that I showed in combo number 1, like imagine the same thing, but instead of having like a useless Zealantis and like the Rabbit, instead you're gonna have like an Apple with a Baron. So it's gonna be an extra like 2 interruptions, which is gonna be, like I said, a lot. And also if you, or like I said, if you're willing to play the Fiendsmith cards, you can also end on like DS ERA and stuff, but I didn't want to show that just because it gets on my nerves. But yeah, Pearlia for no good reason, triple tactic talent, whatever, if you want to play this deck so that you absolutely do not lose to hand traps too much. And then Scale Drain, there can only be 1, just because this deck is very good at ditching your own floodgates, not only because of the Snake Eye cards, but also the White Forest cards, right? You're under your own Skill Drain, no problem. Just go LZ pitch it at any moment so that you stun your opponent for 1 turn, and then next turn, you 100% win the game. But yeah, that's it for this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and let me know how you feel about the White Forest deck in the comment section below, and I'll see you guys very soon. Peace.